So now I want to move on to this Jordan Love take that I saw the other day from Danny Parkins of FS1. He used to be on the Chicago sports radio and recently went to FS1. And he had quite the take on Jordan Love the other day. Let me just read a few quotes here that he had to say. It's in regards to Caleb Williams, comparing him to Jordan Love. He said, Caleb Williams already better than Jordan Love. And when I saw that title initially, I was like, well, already better than Jordan Love? I would get if you said maybe Caleb Williams could be better than Jordan Love. I still think that's crazy, in my personal opinion. But I could say that I could see if someone saw what Caleb Williams did, they see Ben Johnson going in, they make the connection like, okay, Caleb Williams is going to be a much better quarterback and one day could be better than Love. Do I think that's accurate? No, but I sort of get just the thought process. But to say he's already better than Jordan Love is probably, I think it would win the award for craziest take of the year, and it's only July. I think it would probably already, hold that spot. I just think when you look at the data here, you look at what fully happened here, I just think it's super clear that is not the case. And I don't know if there's many people out there that believe this. I don't think so, because I looked at the comments and most people seem to say, like, wait, what? What are you saying here? But let's just, look at some of these stats just so we make sure, we show just how much better Jordan Love was than Caleb Williams last season. Jordan Love, 25 touchdowns, 11 picks. Caleb Williams, 20 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Jordan Love passer rating, 96.7, 12th in the NFL. Caleb Williams passer rating, 87.8, 24th in the NFL. EPA per dropback, which is expected points added. It's one of those advanced analytics. Jordan Love, 13th. EPA per dropback, Caleb Williams, 29th. 8th best scoring offense for the Packers, 28th best scoring offense for the Bears. Packers 11-6, playoffs, Bears 5-12, sitting at home. So I just think looking at those numbers, it's very clear that Caleb Williams did not have a better season than Jordan Love. Now, is it possible Caleb Williams gets better this next season? Yes. Is it likely? Yes, I would say so. They added a lot of players. Ben Johnson's a very good play caller. I do think they could get better. But to say that Caleb Williams is already better than Jordan Love, that's just not the reality here. Now, let me read a little bit more here that he had to say and sort of why he said this. He said, Jordan Love has played the majority of 2 seasons, right? Both of those seasons, double-digit interceptions. So I'm not here sitting here saying that Jordan Love doesn't have areas to improve. I'm not here sitting and saying that Jordan Love is the best quarterback in the league. I'd say he's around 10th right now just from his overall production. But just because he threw a few more picks than Caleb Williams doesn't mean that Caleb Williams is a better quarterback. When we look at Brett Favre, throwing so many picks, and yet he has multiple MVPs, Super Bowls. Like, you can't just look at the interception number and say, well, Caleb Williams had less than Jordan Love. He's a better quarterback than Jordan Love. That just can't, that's just not the case. And then he also said, here's the thing about Jordan Love. Guy had 11 interceptions both years that he played. Caleb Williams played 17 games last year, had 6. So he's trying to, compare those two things. He also brought up Caleb Williams having a bad O-line, his OC being fired after 9 games, and he brings up Love having a great situation with LaFleur, and he brings up Love's completion percentage of 63%. It seemed to be sort of in a negative light, but Caleb Williams did have a worse completion percentage than Jordan Love. And so all in all, I just, totally disagree with that take, and I honestly a little bit speechless with that. But just to, looking at Caleb Williams and Jordan Love, I am a Packers fan, so of course, I want the Packers to succeed. I want Jordan Love to be a better quarterback than Caleb Williams, of course. If you're a Bears fan, you want Caleb Williams to be better than Jordan Love. But I can also, look at Caleb Williams and say that there are some really, positive things about Williams. It's not like it's all bad for Caleb Williams. He has an ability to get outside the pocket, make some great plays, make some great throws. I do, though, have a ton of concerns for Caleb Williams. I'll probably say I have more concerns for Williams than I have, confidence in what he could become. Just because in his first season, it was just a lot of inconsistency. Just seemed to be, a little bit hesitant when it came to throwing the ball. And I do think those are things that can improve. there are just some things to watch out for. Other thing, he just holds the ball way too long. And last season, he was one of the worst quarterbacks in the league when it just came to the pressures that turned into sacks. And so I think for Caleb Williams, with him being so effective in college at just running around, making these passes, he's just so much faster than like every single college football player. That's not the case in the NFL. And so he can't really get away with the same things he was getting away with in college, which I do think happens to different quarterbacks, where they get to the NFL and what worked for them in college didn't really work for them at the NFL level. So that's where he's still going to make some great plays. He just has to get out of that habit of holding the ball too long. And I do think Ben Johnson is going to try to really get him to operate in his offense where it's a lot of quick reads, things like that. The question for me is, can he process that stuff that quickly? This is something where quarterbacks get better as the years go by, and so maybe year one he struggles. Maybe year one with Ben Johnson he gets a little better, and maybe year 4 or 5 he's processing things at a high level and is a solid quarterback. I think he still can be a solid quarterback. I just think there's some possibilities for things not working out. And I think when a guy gets drafted, number 1 overall, at least in my mind, I feel like it's almost like you give him more of a benefit of the doubt when you look at sort of how they're playing. You think, well, they're a first-round pick. They'll probably get things figured out. But so often that's not the case. And I was trying to think of, a quarterback that was maybe sort of in Caleb Williams' position. Not quite the same, but similar. And I was thinking back to Marcus Mariota, also a Heisman winner. Top 2 pick. He was number 2, Williams number 1. And Marcus Mariota comes in. He's a super, dual quarterback sort of. I mean, Mariota and Williams are different, but there are a lot of similarities. But Mariota, year 1, 19 touchdowns, 10 picks, 91.5 passer rating, better than Caleb Williams, year 1. Year 2, 26 touchdowns, 9 picks, 95.6 passer rating. Pretty good his first 2 years, and it sort of went downhill. 13 touchdowns, 15 picks, year 3. 11 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, year 4. And so I just don't think that we can rule out, something like a Marcus Mariota situation happening. What's a percent chance? I'd say it's somewhat low, but I think that it's easy, before we see, year 2 to just assume that things are going to get a lot better. But there are a lot of quarterbacks where it doesn't always get better. So I think there's a huge realm of possibilities for Williams. If I had to guess, I would say he's going to have a okay career. I sort of see him more as an average type quarterback, like maybe a Kyler Murray type, where he's super effective, really talented, but his team just doesn't quite, get far in the playoffs. I mean, Kyler Murray has played in 1 playoff game, 0-1. He's still a really good player, talented. So there's just a lot of things that could happen with Caleb Williams, and personally, I do think Jordan Love, is going to have a better career.